Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we'll be reviewing the new Toyota Land Cruiser, and I think at the end of this review, all of you will be in agreement that this is the Land Cruiser to buy. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Brent Brown Toyota here in Orem, Utah for giving me some time with this Land Cruiser. I'll include a link to the website in the description down below. I do want to mention this particular Land Cruiser is not available for sale, but if you are looking for a new Toyota or a Land Cruiser, just ask for Todd, he can help you out. And then link to my car buying guide as well. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that is also paired to a hybrid system and an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 22 around town and then 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 326 horsepower and then 465 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see how it's raised there on either side. It's got this cool boxy design, and this is the regular Land Cruiser trim, I guess is what you could call it. So it comes with the cool kind of squared off headlights. I can tell you in person, they look really sharp, and yeah, just like all of the elements in it looks really good. Got the Heritage Toyota logo there front and center. We've got the fog lights down below as well, and then you guys can see underneath, got a little bit of protection happening. With this, you also have recovery points, which is good. But yeah, the front end of this, in person, it looks really sharp. I like it. Now, the tire and wheel setup is 265 by 70 by 18 in the front and over in the rear. And you guys can see with the wheels here, got kind of like a satin finish on it. Chunky spokes, so it has that off-roader appearance. Now, you can fit 33s from the factory, like factory suspension with this. So you could, you know, have the nice all-terrain tire with some decent sidewall, no problem. And then here's a quick look at the front suspension, independent suspension on the Land Cruiser. And then I love the fender flare here, how it's super chunky. And then notice we got rock rail protection here on the side. And then you guys can see the mirror caps and the door handles, how those are blacked out. And then if I take a few steps back here, see the full side profile with this. I think that's cool with the stance, it looks good. Now this leads us to the key fob. I can't really see much because it's got the plastic covering, but it does say Land Cruiser on the back, so that's kind of fancy. And then we do have this function here at the very bottom. It'll pop open the rear hatch here. Now taking a look at the cargo area, it is absolutely massive in the Land Cruiser. One of the big benefits, notice we've got the cup holders for the Ghost third row. Got USB ports back here as well. Also for the Ghost third row. You cannot get a third row with the Land Cruiser here in the US market. But yeah, super spacious. I mean, this is pretty much almost as big as the 200 series in terms of the space and everything. So it's a practical vehicle. When you're all done, just press that and that will lower the hatch right back down. Now take a look at the taillights. Really cool with the boxy design. You got all of your badging here on the back, including the Land Cruiser badging. And then with the rear window here in the back, you've got this little pull here, because if you press this button on the side, lets you open it up. So you've got access there, another cool feature. And then you guys can see the bezel, it covers the receiver hitch. And that's the rest of the rear. So like, yeah, finished in underground, I think it's a good looking rig. Now popping inside, really nice trim here at the top and down below with all of the stitching. I'm not noticing a difference, and this is actually soft touch. I'm not noticing a difference between this and that first edition so far. And then popping over to the seats, these are really nice. Yeah, look at all the nice trim there. Now getting in, you do have to step up a little bit. They do give you this grab handle, that helps out. But yeah, legroom back here is pretty solid. We've got a little storage pocket. We've got our own climate zone here in the rear, some USBs as well. Yeah, like I said, these seats are nice. Some nice seats. We have good headroom here in the back too. Now taking a look at the front door panel again, same nice trim throughout with the stitching. We've got all of our window controls here with our mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. If you're wondering on this particular package, payload capacity is 1,100 pounds. With it, look at the front seat there. Perforated all down the center. Adjustments here on the side. And then the steering wheel, it's power adjustable. Got a bunch of controls here on the side. You can see for opening up the hatch, for example, gas cap release. This does have trailer brake controls integrated from the factory. More of that nice trim there, which is cool. I like the circular vent. Now take a look at the steering wheel. We've got nice trim all around, and then we've got a bunch of practical controls on the steering wheel. So we've got like our voice command, volume controls. We've got our adaptive cruise control with the lane centering. And then you can see here on the back, we've got traditional stock, so turn signal light stock, windshield wiper stock. Full digital gauge cluster here in the center, and you can scroll through and see different bits of information on systems within the car. And it's cool how you can customize the gauge view, so you've got like a few different views that you can change through as well. And then we do have our drive modes, which will pop up here. Gives you a cool little animation of the Land Cruiser. I don't know. I think that that's pretty fun if you ask me. Now here's a quick look at the camera system, 360, and it does fill in underneath the vehicle. So really good 360 camera system if you ask me. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, shortcut bar here on the side. Quick response time with that shortcut bar. Also have the analog volume control there on the side. But yeah, easy to use infotainment system, and I like the integration with the dash here. I think it's good looking. More of that nice soft touch trim here, and then the dash here at the top, soft touch circular vent there off to the side. And then look at this. We've got heated and ventilated seats here. We've got our dual zone climate with this as well. And then that's just for the camera view. So you press that, it does the weird 360 shot. We've got our USB ports down here. And then you can see this little area here. I'll move this out of the way. This is kind of like our little storage area with this. Now here's your mode select is what they describe it as. That's because you can do your drive modes, multi-terrain select, or crawl control depending on what you're wanting to go for. Shifter for that 8-speed automatic transmission. Got our parking brake here with our auto hold. And then look at this. So we've got our 4-wheel drive system. So right now it's just in 4-wheel high, 2-speed transfer case, so you can put it in 4-wheel low. But we have air center and rear locking differential with this. Stabilizer bar disconnect, stability control with that as well. And the nice lid here at the center console. Storage inside. Yeah, nice trim on this. And there's soft touch here, so if you're a taller person, your knee can rest up against some nice soft touch trim rather than, you know, hard plastic. And then we've got the glove box. Forgot to mention this little thing goes across. And then just a traditional mirror here. No sunroof with this particular one. You can add a sunroof on the Land Cruiser package, but this one just doesn't have it. So here's our window sticker for this Land Cruiser. You guys can see the standard equipment with it, and then optional. The biggest expense is that those rock rails, $990. Total MSRP is $64,615 with this. And also, I forgot to mention, you got the roof rails. Let's sum things up. So I figured we sum things up inside because it's super windy out, and this microphone usually does a pretty good job with the audio, but rather be safe than sorry. So I've already driven the 1958 and I've driven the first edition. This version of Land Cruiser is going to drive like the first edition because it has all the same equipment. Again, same 4-wheel drive. They all have the same 4-wheel drive system, but this has the stabilizer bar disconnect, front and rear locking diffs and all that kind of stuff. And it's got the multi-terrain select all the drive modes. So yeah, it's basically the same vehicle. It just doesn't have the circular headlights that the first edition has. And so when it comes to the driving of the new Land Cruiser, it drives really well. I would call it like a luxury car. It's really comfortable down the road, like over bumps and everything. It does a really good job. I mean, again, it's an off-road vehicle, so it's supposed to do a good job over the bumps. And this powertrain's got great power. Again, I drove this back-to-back with a Lexus GX, and I couldn't perceive the difference in terms of like how they sound a little bit different, but in terms of like if one's more powerful than the other, they felt pretty much the same. So this turbo 4-cylinder with the hybrid does a good job. Now this version of Land Cruiser, I think is objectively the best version to get, and hear me out. The 1958 has that cool kind of like retro design, and so does the first edition. The 1958 is super bare bones, like you don't get a lot of options with that, and it you know, it's less money than this, but it's not like way less. Like the one that I reviewed, I think was like $58,000. So for like, let's say $6,000 to $7,000 more, you get a much nicer interior in terms of the materials. You get these nicer seats, heated and cooled, 360 camera system. You get the rear locking differential because the 1958 only has a center. You get the stabilizer bar disconnect. This one has rock rails. Still no sunroof on this. I know, it's just a much nicer vehicle. And then you compare this to the first edition, and those are like $76,000. They're just getting mad at me. Those are like $76,000 MSRP to $78,000 depending on how the dealer equips them. So you're looking at over $10,000 more expensive than this, $12,000, $14,000. And other than the sunroof, I mean, it doesn't have as many skid plates. It also has extra skid plates in the first edition. But other than the sunroof, roof rack, the roof rack just causes noise. So you're basically missing skid plates and a sunroof that I would actually see as potential value, but like a lot of people don't want sunroofs. Like, this is fine. So you save yourself like $12,000. You get pretty much all the same features, same car, same driving. I don't know. I think this is the one to get. This is the Land Cruiser to get, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts, but yeah, if you're going to be, I mean, get whatever package you want, but I would look more into this Land Cruiser version of the Land Cruiser package, which is so weird to say. I'll see you.